Episode 91 of the 580 show. The boys are back in buzzing. What's up, boys?
What's
happening?
Jason
up?
Frawley, you're back.
I'm back, baby.
You're back.
Been a while.
You're pretty fired up for 8:50 in the morning. I love it.
Riley was saying some dumb shit before he got started, so he got my blood boiling now.
Hey, it's football season. Riley's saying some stupid shit. That's a lock.
That's all it takes.
That's your opinion.
We agree on almost everything until we find something we disagree on, and then Riley's the stupidest person I've ever met.
Me and Riley
That's pretty much how it goes.
Me and Riley disagree on almost everything.
Yeah, that's pretty true.
Also, Riley and I have new aspirations past strongman and fitness. And probably you weren't at Strongman Saturday yesterday, but this is my new obsession, is taking over a high school football program and just rebuilding it from the ground up. So that's my new obsession. We'll probably be talking about that on the 580 show once we find a program that'll let us take it over. But for now, we'll continue to talk about strongman and strength sports. So, you're our D coordinator, Frawley. So
I'm in. Let's do
you're
it.
locked in. You and Nick Ferrantino. Dante's JV coach, but he doesn't even get to stand on the sidelines on Friday nights.
He's the line guy. He's the get back guy.
No, we already said it.
He's the get back guy.
I have my whole staff. What's psychotic about it is I've already planned 4 to 5 speeches for different scenarios already that I have memorized.
This is how crazy this guy is.
So, but anyway, episode 91 of the 580 show. I'm just happy to be back with my OG boys. We got some stuff to talk about. Strongman's kind of in that weird downturn right now where they did have Clash of Waco yesterday. I saw Mike O'Connor, I believe is how his last name, but he won. And those are the same events as the other regional shows. But other than that, I mean, everyone's either prepping for nationals or OSG.
Right.
And it's kind of seems historically in strongman that after nationals and OSG, that's kind of the off season for everyone. It's you have the Arnold in the spring, but that's only a handful of people going to compete there. It seems the winter time is really kind of when everything kind of turns down. Everyone's just training off season and then ramp back up for spring, summer shows, and then the bigger shows in the fall.
Sure. Yeah, it's hard to run shows too during the holidays, like Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. So it makes sense. It's understandable.
Yeah. Speaking of that, we got our show on December 10th.
Yeah.
Speaking of idiots who would run shows
right in the middle of all the holidays.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's like that.
I think we're all right. We sold
plenty
out
of time
and everything. But yeah, I'm really excited. It's getting closer and closer because the questions are starting to flow in like crazy. And we've had our first couple dropouts. So it's getting there. I'm really excited for that show. I want every show we do to get bigger and better. So Pooler Express on December 10th. And yeah, a lot of Christmas lights, a lot of Christmas themed events. They're guys down at the gym. Willie was down at the gym last night for Ollie.
Yeah, he told me he was there.
Yeah, they were doing the sandbag event, the snowman.
Yep.
And it was actually like the first couple times I saw the snowman sandbags getting built. It was pretty cool.
It actually looks pretty good.
Yeah.
He sent me some videos. It looks pretty good.
Yeah.
It kind of does look like a snowman.
Yeah, right.
It really does.
Yeah, So if anyone has any questions about Polar Express, there's over 10 people still on the wait list. So, I mean, if you want thrown on, that's good. I don't know if you'll get in now at this point. But you can at least try. And if anyone's interested in volunteering, just let me know. Another thing I wanted to talk about is we had an episode where we talked about nationals when the events came out.
Yep.
And rather, I know you're not doing nationals, but you kind of see the prep and all the events and everything. But I think these 6 events are like torturous.
They're freaking rough.
Yeah.
They're rough. They're brutal.
I don't think we ever exclaimed how difficult they are. I mean, it is hard to say without the experience of doing them. And now that we've been doing them for maybe 6-ish weeks, it's getting into, like Dante said yesterday, it's getting into those dog days where
Yep.
it's
You got a month left of training.
yes,
If you deload the week before nationals, you got a month left of training, 4 weeks.
yep.
So you're getting to that point where everything's getting hard and everything feels heavy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like a max axle is the least taxing event by far, in my opinion.
I agree with that.
Mhm.
I really do.
That's
I
scary.
actually think the two quote unquote static, right? The axle and the deadlift, the
Yeah.
farmers axle, those are probably the least too taxing.
And even the deadlift though, like if you're
Correct.
repping out,
Yep.
you're doing a rep of the farmers, then
Yep.
you're doing a rep of the second farmers, and then if you're in the upper third of your class, you're doing 4
Yep.
to 8 to 10 reps
Yep.
on that bar.
Yep.
I mean, that's a
So-
lot. You're doing, double digit reps.
Yep.
But it's like if you look at nationals last year versus this year, event wise, it was a lot less taxing last year, in my
Right.
opinion. We started with a max log. Me and Dante zeroed it, so all we had to do was clean a log.
Yeah.
But we did a max log. And then what was second? Oh, then deadlift was second for reps, and then sandbag toss. Sandbag toss is not that fatiguing. And then day 2 was what did we start with? Axle for reps.
Axle
Me and
press.
Dante both missed, so we only had to clean that too. And then it was a wheelbarrow, and it was only 60 feet, and then a
A
yoke
yoke.
down and back. But you look at
Right.
this year, okay, we start with a max axle. Okay, same format as last year, just a different implement. Max log, max axle, pretty comparable. Okay. And then we go, what's the second event? It's the
farmers.
farmers.
Yep.
The 160 feet farmers, and it's heavy.
Those are taxing.
I think people are sleeping on the farmers. And then you stop that and you go into a medley where you carry sandbag down into a sled, run back, sandbag down into a sled, and then backward sled drag. Okay, that's a grueling event.
Yep.
And then day 2 is the
Deadlift.
deadlift, which we just talked about. And then 5 bag sandbag over shoulder, which I don't think a lot of people are going to finish. My
Yeah.
class is heavier than OSG bags, I believe.
Is it really?
I think OSG may have one heavier, but I think ours I can't remember. But ours is heavy. I'm going to be shocked if a lot of people finish that.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see how it's judged, because I mean, some of these bigger bags, unless you pick them vertically, like a 350 bag, no matter how hard I try, I can't make that bag go over my shoulder, like through here, right?
Yeah.
Unless I pick it vertically and throw it this way, right? But
Right.
if that's not how you pick it, then I mean, even if you do like the push across that people do, where they push it across their face and like try to get it up over that way, it still ends up like falling down to your bicep. So like,
Yeah, I actually want
I'll
to
be
see.
curious.
I want to see if Strongman Corp they did they did answer. So Kate Gutwald actually asked on the Facebook page
Mhm.
how they're going to be judging the sandbag over shoulder, because you nailed it on the head. That is so hard to judge.
I should
the
send,
bag
I
is-
should send them my videos I did yesterday, because the first
Yeah.
set, like half of them are like,
Yeah, they're not
Seconds.
over.
yeah. And the
Right.
second
It
set, like I
just
did that.
depends how they're going to judge it.
Right.
Because okay, if you get a middleweight like Dante, right, and he's doing a 265 bag over his shoulder, is it get 50% over his shoulder? Because that bag's so long, it's not possible unless you just do the Tyler Gustafson and just put it straight over your face.
Yeah.
So she said, how are you guys going to be judging? And they said, you do not need a down command. The sandbag has to go clearly over the shoulder and fall behind you. If you twist and it goes to your side, that is a no rep. If the lowest point of the sandbag does not go over the shoulder height, that is a no rep.
Yeah.
It's so a couple things. I want your guys' opinion on this too. and Zola actually brought it up, and I think this is a really good point that the other nationals does. Instead of, and I think there's pros and cons to it, but at strongman court, you go against guys in your class in each lane. So if it's 6 lanes, it's 6 lightweights for me, 6 heavyweights for Frawley, it's 6 middleweights for Dante.
Right.
At USS Nationals, your class is all in one lane. Okay, and now what I like about that is that your judge for your class is the same.
It's the same judge.
And when you get to an event like this that is dicey, lane 1 may have a guy, hey dude, that's good enough for me. Lane 4 may have a hard ass that's
Say nope.
yeah,
Right.
That's
a good point.
Yeah, I think the important part is just consistency in the judging.
Mhm.
Like, it doesn't matter how you judge it as long as everyone's judged the same way. That's my opinion.
I would like to think for nationals that they make it very clear that everybody has to judge the same way, but I guess you never know.
And I mean,
Yeah.
going last year from a spectator perspective, the judging was pretty consistent. I'm sure
Yeah.
people could say that there were individual cases where they felt like it wasn't, but overall, from
that's gonna happen.
yeah, like overall, it was pretty good. So
What also is good about about nationals is it's going to be primarily, if not 100% state chairs judging. So you are getting, I'm not saying that state chairs are elite by any means. They're just, in this instance, they're more experienced,
Sure.
right? So they've dealt with these type of events, stuff like that. Last year, when I went to nationals, I never felt like the judging was one-sided or
Right.
off at all. Like I really did. I was whatever lane I went in, I felt the exact same the whole time, which is great.
That's how it should be.
Right. And now you go to a local show where there's 100 people and maybe, someone's dad had to jump in and,
Yeah.
that may be a little bit different. However, I will say the pro that I think overweighs the consistent judging and going at this, I like going at the same time as my competitors, is because it pushes you.
Mhm.
Because I remember last year, like take the yoke race or the wheelbarrow race, somewhere where you're actually racing. So this year would be the farmers or the sandbag. When you see those peripherals or you hear the crowd cheering because someone's coming up behind you, or it really does push you a lot
Sure.
more. So I'm curious, what would you guys prefer? Like, what would you guys want to go in the same lane? Would you guys want to go at the same time as your competitors?
Yeah,
So
head to head.
I think the reason that I like the idea of different weight classes going at the same time in different lanes is because then everybody gets a little bit more of a consistent warm up. So instead of running one weight class at a time, you can have 3 lanes for the heavyweights, 2 lanes for the middleweights, and 1 lane for the lightweights, just as an example, right? You base it on the amount of competitors in each class. But for a competitive sake, I agree. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're watching people that you're directly competing against going against you, then you're obviously going to be more motivated to get moving and whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
So-
I mean, if I ran a nationals, I would, if I'm looking at it from being effective to getting guys in and out in a timely manner, I would actually do it weight class per lane.
Sure.
Because okay, you would put maybe the lightweight girls, the first 3 girl classes all in the first lane. Now, how much is their weight going to vary? Not much, right? You may have to bring in a second or third heavier sandbag, but the way we do it at strongman court, and like I said, there's pros and cons, but my weight, or think about Allie's weight, the
Right.
lightweight 140 girl. Her first sandbag's 100 pounds. What's your first sandbag for? Like 265?
265. Yep.
Now that's a lot of movement
Right.
all day in
Right.
the same lanes, and you're doing that in 6 different lanes, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
you're moving from 100-pound sandbag in the first lane all the way up to a 265 across 6 lanes, and that's a lot of movement all day.
Sure.
So
Unless they just keep them stand by like you did on Battle at the Bridge.
I'm sure they will, but it's still just moving a sandbag, man. Like even after just think about us yesterday, Dante, at Strongman Saturday.
Yeah.
How heavy does that just 242 bag feel when you're putting it back at the end of the day?
Yeah.
Like
If we didn't
that's
have that little
one thing.
roller thingy, it would be miserable.
Right. I'm sure any strongman can relate that's done sandbags. Dude, you can do a 200-foot carry with a bag, but when it's time to put that bag at the end of training, that thing feels like it's what's that sword that's in the Excalibur sword?
Excalibur.
Yeah.
I knew Dorky Dante would know that one. But
Trying to put it
it's
back, I swear the weight increases by
Oh, yeah.
50. At
dude, it's
least.
crazy. I thought I tore my
Horrible.
bicep trying to put a 200-pound sandbag back yesterday. I almost cried.
I believe it.
But yeah, but by going back to their response, if you twist and go, I actually like if you twist and it goes your side, it's a no rep because people
That makes
people
sense.
do that and it goes over like their bicep almost.
Yeah.
Now, when it says if the lowest point of the sandbag does not go over the shoulder height, that's a no rep. I like that. That's actually a good definitive term because you guys understand what that means. Like if your shoulder's right here, the end of the bag that's out here, it doesn't necessarily have to go over your shoulder, but it has to be the same height.
Mhm.
Sure. Yeah.
Now, the only time that would become an issue is if it's a floppy bag.
Right.
But
Right.
I will say, when we did throw bags last year, they had the crumb rubber in them,
Mhm.
and they were like nice stiff bags. So if they make these bags stiff with
Yeah.
the crumb rubber, it won't be an issue at all.
Right.
If it's floppy, then it will be an issue.
Right.
So that's
Right.
yeah. But I like that. I mean that at least helps out a little bit. But like I mean, really the only thing I was trying to get to there is just how hard these events are.
Yeah.
I think it's
I mean,
just an
they're brutal.
absolute grind. And it's nationals. Every show has their own hard events and everything like that. I just training these are the 6 hardest combination of events I've ever had to train.
I said to Nick Nick's been on the show before, on the podcast before. I was talking to him about the farmers event, and I tried to do a comp run, and I was like, that's probably the hardest thing I've ever done.
Yeah. Yeah.
In like literally all of strength sports that I've ever done, including powerlifting, including the strongman shows I've done. That farmers is really difficult.
I mean, I did on 660 the other day with 280 for 2
Brutal.
sets, and I just wanted to drop it every single time. But it's like one of those mentally things where you just got to push past it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's unique too, and this is the last thing I'll say about it. And if you guys have anything to add, but it's last year was heavier in the max event, so there's more zeros.
Sure.
This year, I don't think there'll be a lot of zeros, but I think there'll be a lot of incompletions. There'll be a lot of distance taken. You know what I mean?
Is there one event that you guys have done so far that may have surprised you for better or worse?
Arm over arm for me. So I have a good and a bad. Arm over arm, I think I'm doing better at it than I thought I would. I'm really loving that event.
Yeah.
Just training, it's been fun. I've never got to do it at a show. I'm enjoying training. It's hard, but I'm enjoying training it, and I'm PRing every time I do it, getting more efficient with it. We have the exact rope that they're using, which is nice.
Right.
However, sandbag over shoulder. I was talking to a fellow competitor this morning, actually, and he said he talked to a good guy in our class, and they said that 40 seconds would be a competitive time. That's full of shit. There's no way that someone in my class is finishing that in 40 seconds. If they do, hats off, because I can shoulder over or 2 and at 287 decently, but it's after 4 bags.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think people are looking at the numbers, but not looking at the event. Does that make sense? They're looking at individual numbers. Oh, I can shoulder all 5 of these bags, but they're not viewing, okay, I've done 4 events prior this weekend, and there's 4 bags prior to the heaviest bag.
And you gotta count walking to each bag too. That's gonna take a couple seconds.
Well, I don't know. What I can tell you is I didn't really have much expectation set up, and then I saw Matt Webb do his sandbag ladder, and it wasn't quite comp weight, but it was very, very close. Like, let's say, for example, my class is 265, 287, 310, 330, 350, right? And let's say the 300 bag, instead of a 310, he had a 300 and a 300 for the 2 300 bags. He did that in 24 seconds.
Wow.
Now,
Hey, man,
obviously, Obviously,
maybe.
that's going to be on the upper end, right? He very well could win the event. I mean, it was a smooth run. There probably still a little bit of time in there for variation on the weights, but dude, 24 seconds is freaking lightning fast.
I mean, dude, if people in my class are finishing in 40 seconds, hats off to them, I
Yeah.
mean, good for them. I just don't. I think there's gonna be, say there's 30 guys in my class. I think 3 will finish.
Hmm.
I really do.
We'll
I
see.
really do. But
Yeah.
I may be dead wrong. I've been wrong. I think the farmers has been Dante's really good at farmers. That's probably his best event. So he
Yep.
may not feel as crappy as us, but farmers has been slapping me in the mouth, dude.
If I finish the farmers event, I'm going to be a happy man. I'm telling you right now.
That's my goal is to finish the farm.
If I finish it, I will be a happy man.
Me too. That's my goal.
You just got to find your pace. That's my problem now. I'm good at farmers for fast, but never done it for 160 feet of
If I
complex.
only had to run one set, I'd be a lot more confident.
Oh, dude. And I'm
That's why it's
thinking
tough.
about, what sucks too is those convention center floors. You guys remember Roanoke last year?
hmm
They're so slick.
Yeah.
So when you drop that farmers, dude, they can go 4 or 5 feet, and one can go
there's
to the
rubber.
left and one can go to the right.
There's rubber on the bottom of the farmers.
Oh, there is.
Yes.
Oh,
It says
nice.
that in the rules. So
Nice.
yeah, it says that there's no need for penalties for sliding
Nice.
because there
That's
is
cool.
rubber on the bottom of the farmers. Yeah.
Well, that's cool. That's why you read
Yep.
the rules and you don't
Yep.
have, you're not an idiot.
I've only read it like 73 times. So.
Yeah. Well, dude, I got slapped in the mouth yesterday. I found
Yeah.
out my sandbag medley was 2 bags heavier than I thought it was.
And Josh was like, "Oh, it's not going to be a big deal." I was like, "Dude,
I
those
thought I
are
was
comp
gonna
weight
finish
bags."
at 9 seconds. And then Dante's like, no, dude, yours is this heavy. I'm like, oh crap. Like that kind of, but I did a comp run with it. I feel good. But yeah, that's anything. If you're going to nationals, you're listening, let us know.
And if you're a nurse, let us know.
I always love meeting everyone at shows. Like I
Yeah,
really
same.
do. It's crazy. No matter if it's a small local show or a big show, one thing I take away from every show is that I meet new people, new friends I stay in contact with on social media. I DM every week. Like it's awesome. So if you're in nationals, love to hang out, come get dinner with us after day one or before, and love to meet some of you guys I've talked to on Instagram. So I'm sure you guys are the same way.
I agree.
I have a question for you guys, but also for I need people to comment. And if you don't want to comment, so comment on YouTube. First off, it helps us out. Every video, if you guys like listening, drop a like, drop a comment, and subscribe if you're not. But this one, I actually want some input for pre-workout, having a pre-workout company. And this is, there's a reason for me asking that I can't say yet, but what would you guys say is the most popular or the most loved pre-workout flavor? I'm not saying obviously horsepower watermelon's 1 and horsepower mixed berries 1A in the industry as a whole. But I'm saying if it was just a blank tub that wasn't horsepower and it was just said pre-workout and had a flavor, what is the most popular flavor or what is the most loved flavor that you guys would see?
I don't agree with it, but I know a lot of people like blue raspberry.
I was gonna say that has to be the most common.
I would
I
say
hate blue raspberry, but a lot
I
of
don't
people
hate-
like it.
I don't hate blue raspberry, but I think it's done so much.
But isn't that kind of proving your point? There's
Yeah,
a reason for that.
I would say now that was my second thought. I had fruit punch as my first.
That's what I was going to say. Fruit
punch is
punch.
good too. It's those two, like those two are neck and neck.
Yeah.
Blue raspberry and fruit punch are always like.
But I feel like
great.
mixed berry is close enough to that already too.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's something I'm working. I'm curious if you guys had a pre-workout and you could pick a flavor and don't pick like Skittle unicorn, stuff like that. Like a flavor that is feasible to accomplish. If we were going to do a limited release, working with someone, something like that, maybe. What's a popular flavor? You can drop maybe your 1, 2, 3. I want to get some ideas. So maybe I'll drop a poll on Instagram too. But if you're listening, drop it on our YouTube, comment what your favorite pre-workout flavor is. If it's a blank tub, you walk up, any given day, and what would you be the most pumped to see as a pre-workout flavor? I'm curious to see what people would say.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like you said, the best pre-workout ever is 580 horsepower watermelon. So,
Yeah,
um,
and mixed berry.
yeah, but watermelon's better than mixed berry. Sorry, folks.
See, I'm on a mixed berry kick lately. Like I've only been taking mixed berry.
I'm watermelon for the rest of my life until you beat it.
I was thinking
Base.
like
I'm
I
based.
know you
baby.
said don't get crazy, but for like a limited release thing, like I feel like people love like things that they know taste like something else. Like so, like what you said not to say earlier, like with the Skittles thing, like people love shit like that.
That's
Like if
true.
you can call it something, I don't know if you have to actually use the name brand, but it's like something like Swedish Fish, Skittles, like Sour
I have
Patch
the
Kid, like people love stuff like that.
So I was curious about that because I have the ability, I actually have it like queued up. I have the ability to make a Starburst flavor. I think I have pink Starburst as a flavor. But now I feel like Starburst could definitely come after me if I just call it pink Starburst. I think I would have to call it like something else. Like
Pink Star Blast.
Yeah.
Juicy
Yeah.
pink candy.
Yeah, juicy pink candy, maybe.
That doesn't sound like a pre-workout.
Did I really
That
sell you
sounds
on that?
good.
That was a great sell. Look
That's
at that.
funny.
I'll sell
Juicy
water
pink.
to an ocean, baby.
Dude, so but you know what? That's actually just reminded me of something when you said that, Riley. One of my biggest goals is when we start to do, because if you don't know, we have a supplement. If you're just now, I always like to preface, if it is like your first time listening, we have a pre-workout company. You go to 580barbell.com. It's on there. And over the next couple of years, want to turn into a full-blown supplement company. When I do whey protein, which is, I want to do it. I would have done it by now, but I can't. The market for it is so messed up right now. If you're in the industry and you understand, but for me to feasibly do protein, just for the people that DM me about it all the time, because it is our most requested thing by far. When are you doing a protein? When are you doing protein? I want to do a high quality isolate whey protein. For me to feasibly put out a whey protein right now, I would have to sell it to you guys to break even for about $60 for 30 servings.
Yeah, that just
It's
ain't,
not, it can't do it.
that just ain't gonna work.
It can't do it.
Yeah.
So I have to wait for the market to kind of go back to where it was. And it's just, you can't keep up with companies like Walmart to do an isolate for $18 right now because they're just so big.
Right.
So I will do a protein, I promise. It has to be the right time. So, but what I was gonna say, what I want to do for our first ever flavor of whey protein, which would be like a dream, and I don't know how it would work. I would love to partner with like a local company, like a Rosalind's, or like imagine like a Rosalind's chocolate whey protein. You know what I mean?
Or like Kretschmar's, like
Yeah, like a Kretschmar's
cookie
glazed
butter or
donut.
something.
Orum's
Ooh,
glazed donut.
ours. Oh,
Like an Orum's glazed glazed donut whey protein.
I've
How
had a
sick would
glazed
that be?
donut protein before, and it was kind of disappointing. So if they can figure that out.
Yeah,
Just
maybe.
shitting on his parade.
Dante still has PTSD from the food challenge for eating Orms.
No, I liked the Orms. It was the, you know what, that threw me off.
The you know what?
The
Yeah,
gravel
I
shake.
know. That'd be cool though. That way
Yeah,
you can tie in a local company too.
Yeah,
So,
that would be sick.
That's cool.
But
yeah.
just some things to think about.
Yeah.
Do you guys have anything to talk about before we go into these questions? We got some good questions this week. I got a couple highlighted that I want to talk about.
I don't know if I have anything else.
Let's get
Yeah,
together.
We're a month left of training for nationals. That's like the focus for the next 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
It's time to start doing, what do you call it, Josh? The death march?
Yep.
Yeah, it's that time.
It's the
You're
end
in it.
game. It's the end game.
This is
now.
this
The end
is
game.
honestly like this is the first week that I felt the death march.
Oh yeah.
It's
I felt
coming.
it big time this week. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Well,
having
you're
to
starting to get heavier. You're starting to get up around comp weights for stuff, right? Like you might have like 2 more weeks that are up around comp weight, and that's it. So,
Yeah.
well, I mean, this is when you're really going to start feeling it, and then
Oh yeah.
the fatigue
Dude.
just accumulates, and you only got a few more weeks after that to fight through. So,
The 2 days of training after my wedding were brutal. Training at different gyms while you're like banged up like that is just.
I don't know. You did have that strict press PR.
I did hit a strict press PR, which was very random, but I don't know. It still sucks.
Yeah.
But did you guys also see, this is completely random, but did you guys see, so the UFC fights were awesome last night. I don't know if you guys watched Diaz versus
I didn't
Ferguson.
watch any of them.
Dude, Diaz versus Ferguson was became an instant great in my opinion.
Yeah.
Immediately. Just such a great fight. But did you guys see Adrian Peterson and Le'Veon Bell fought last night?
I knew
Oh,
they
was
were
that
fighting.
like- I
I
knew
didn't
they
know
were
when it
going
was.
to.
Did
I
you
saw the
see what
highlights.
happened?
Yeah.
No.
No, I didn't.
Adrian Peterson got knocked out so bad by Le'Veon Bell. Dude, it was like Jake. Do you remember when Jake Paul knocked out Nate Robinson?
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was, dude. Adrian Peterson looked like both his knees left the arena. How bad he
man.
got.
Really?
What
It was
round
the
that, do you
craziest thing
know?
I've ever seen. They said they only sold 200 tickets to that fight. The
I mean,
state,
yeah.
the stadium holds 22,000 people.
Where was it at?
I can't remember. Maybe New York. I might be wrong on that. Maybe New York. But they said that they only could sell 200 tickets, and they gave away over 1,000, and they were just letting people in last night.
If they were smart, they would have done it like through somebody else, but I don't know.
I mean, competing against potentially Diaz's last ever UFC fight is tough.
Like, how much do you think Portnoy would have paid them to be the main event at Rough and Rowdy?
Yeah, right.
A
Honestly,
lot.
Yeah.
I mean,
I didn't even know it was yesterday. Their PR sucks.
I didn't know it was
Yeah.
yesterday either. I got sent the video this morning, dude. Le'Veon Bell, good for him. He knocked, crazy
I
knockout.
can't believe that.
Someone
Yeah.
said it was the boxing match of the washed running backs.
Yeah, it was. But Riley, first question. It's Steeler season too, boys. So good vibes only. Steeler season today. I will say the Steelers are going to make the playoffs. If anyone's
Oh,
saved,
yeah, easy.
save this. Thank you, Riley. Save this right now. If any haters, doubters, trolls, episode 91, whatever timestamp we're at, Dante, save this. Steelers
Aaron
are making
Smith.
the playoffs this year.
All right. When they
Guaranteed.
don't, then what?
What do you want me to do? I don't know. I'll say I'm wrong, but they're not. It's not going to happen.
Big of you.
Yeah, I'll say I'm wrong.
You have to donate to Acrisure Stadium.
No.
Hell,
Heinz
ew,
Field.
God.
Heinz Field. Call it the right name.
Oh, Heinz
No, I
Field,
don't. I don't
damn it.
buy Heinz ketchup since it happened. I haven't bought Heinz ketchup since.
Wow, you're a loser.
That's, I mean,
Why would I? They
it's a little
turned their
Heinz,
backs on the
baby.
city of Pittsburgh.
Heinz, baby.
Go ahead, you little sheep. So keep supporting Heinz ketchup.
Little
what do you,
sheep.
what do you
Yeah,
mean, Hunts?
Go support a freaking
No, I
Detroit
get like a
company in
local
Pittsburgh.
organic ketchup.
Yeah, it's probably shitty.
And I'm
too.
not fat like you, Riley. I don't eat ketchup on every meal.
I don't eat ketchup.
I don't eat it on my fried chicken for lunch.
It's like Frank.
I'm
Frank
very
gotta
rare
have
with
that
my
ketchup.
But Riley, to focus.
Yeah.
This person specifically
Mhm.
wants your take on the Pickett Trubisky conundrum.
I mean, everyone knew they were starting Trubisky. Steelers don't just start a rookie quarterback. They never
Yeah,
have.
but what's your take on it?
I mean, I think it's a waste of a pick of a 25-year-old quarterback if you don't start him. Like, that's the reason you draft that guy. If you're going to have a guy and have him wait, then you draft a guy with higher upside.
I don't agree with I don't know. I don't agree with that.
Here's
But
my
they
take.
didn't know they didn't ask for our opinion, Frawley. They asked
Yeah.
for
Come
specifically
on.
Riley.
Why can't they can talk? Why
No,
can't he talk?
Ben
Nah.
Kaepernick specifically wanted Riley.
I'm taking it out of the pod. if you
I mean,
guys
I didn't
talk.
want them to pick Kenny Pickett, but when they did, I said they had to start him because
But
They're
the
not
okay,
reason you draft that guy is because he's NFL ready.
but Riley, to counter argue with you, okay, he's 25, right?
Oh, so Josh is allowed to talk now.
No,
No,
I'm
no,
taking it
Fro, you
out.
can
I'm taking
talk.
it out. I'm
I'm
taking
just-
it out.
Yeah,
I'm
why is
taking
Josh
it
allowed
out.
to-
I'm taking
why
it
is
out.
Josh-
Anything that
No,
Riley doesn't say, I'm taking out.
Shut up. You're not taking it out.
All right, have fun talking. It's not going.
You're not taking it out. To argue, and Frawley, you speak to, but Riley's thought process is if they don't start a 25-year-old quarterback, it's a loss. But what happens if he sits for 8 games and then comes in? So you got him. If he's good from 27 to 36, you got 9 years out of a first-round pick. Is that a fail? Not everyone's going to be Big Ben. No one's Big Ben.
That's true.
Big Ben
Riley,
didn't start.
yeah, there you go. But Ben was also 22, I guess. But
But the only reason Ben came in is because Maddox got hurt. How long would he have sat if Maddox didn't get hurt? I guess we'll never know. But
yeah,
Till
that's
he-
true.
Till he screwed up.
I like Mitch Trubisky. I like him. I really do like
They
him.
were always going to start him week 1 on the road, especially like on the road in division. They were always going to start Mitch Trubisky. It was
I like
never-
Mitch. I'm going to
Dude.
root for whoever's the Steelers quarterback.
Me
They
too.
got Trubisky on a 2-year deal, relatively cheap. Okay. He's
Very
27
cheap.
years old. He's 27 years old. So he's only a few years older than Pickett. Okay. They sign him cheap. They bring him in. He is on a 2-year deal. He plays well. I don't know. Let's say he plays well the whole year. Now you trade him off. He's worth something. Easy contract. You get something on the return. If he doesn't play well, you have a half decent backup. Long term, Pickett is their decision because you don't draft a quarterback in the first round if he's not the future or what you want to be the future. But Trubisky, his contract's so cheap, and they can get some kind of value. It's like a win-win. There's not really a downside. They have 2 quarterbacks they can start right now, basically, and one of them is going to be a backup.
3.
I knew you were
Easy.
going to say that.
I said 2.
Oh, there's your Steelers talk. They're making the playoffs.
That's big time.
I guess you guys could answer this too because you're all there. But favorite part of your wedding last weekend? I don't know. I don't know what my favorite part was.
Mr.
enjoyed-
Brightside.
I enjoyed that was
Mr. Brightside. was
Mr.
good.
Brightside.
Mr. Brightside.
Yeah,
We
that
brought
was
in.
a-
I can't
whole
remember
thing
his
was
name.
good. Whole thing went great.
Yeah.
Probably I guess this is you. Because I only saw it a little bit. You probably seen more. The new bench rules for the IPF.
Yeah, they finally did something about it.
So you can't wait. So your feet can't go on the bench.
Feet can't go on the bench. What do you mean?
I thought that someone said like
For your setup, you can't
When
go
you
on the
Oh,
set
bench.
see, I
up-
haven't seen that. I didn't see that. I just saw they like for reference for people that don't know, if you're not familiar with powerlifting, there's like in the IPF, which is one of the federations of powerlifting.
International Powerlifting Federation.
Right. And people will contort their body to create an excessive arch in their back so that they're reducing the range of motion in their bench press so that they don't have to press as far. But it's long been discussed and debated whether or not it's legitimate. And a lot of people from like an eye test for the sport, like people who aren't familiar with the sport, will look at that and say, that's not legal, is it? But realistically, it is legal. It's within the rules. They're not doing anything wrong until now. The IPF created the rules, and now the elbow joint has to go below the shoulder joint in the press. So it's almost like you're hitting depth on a bench press. And if it doesn't, it's not a legitimate bench. And I personally like it.
That's cool. I didn't know anything about it. I just saw memes. I was just scrolling
Yeah,
past.
like I think it's long overdue. I really do. I don't think people did anything wrong by doing it because again, it was within the
It's
rules.
in the rules.
But at a certain point, you write rules because people are doing things, and
Yeah.
I think it helps the sport be recognized a little bit more with a little bit more credibility since they're changing the rules. That's my opinion.
Recovery methods you guys use.
You're looking
I
at
found-
Brawleys.
I found literally just eating better. Me and Gray talked about that a lot last night. Is like I wish I knew about nutrition the way I do now.
Yeah.
Because it is harder to recover at our age now. The older you get, I wouldn't be able to recover if I ate like I would. I just fell into that trap in my early 20s of eating everything. And now I think one really positive thing that's come into strength sports over the last couple of years has been the highlight on nutrition.
Mhm.
And I think that's the best recovery method.
Sleeping, trying to optimize your sleep. I mean, obviously doing mobility stuff helps, stretching your muscles out when they're tight. But sleep and nutrition for sure. Making sure you're getting enough calories too. Like I think a lot of people are underfed.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, it's harder when you're a weight class athlete, but
Accessories, rotation. I like to rotate accessories every 3 weeks. After 3 weeks, that's when I always rotate them for people. But it's different for everyone. You don't even need to necessarily change the accessory. You can change a rep scheme or something like that. And that's just what I've found.
If it's working, don't change it.
My
My opinion.
I'm going to answer. this is a good question. People that power lifted prior to strongman, what was it like transitioning powerlifting to strongman? We literally just talked about this. I think me and Frawley talked about this offline.
Mhm.
The biggest mistake I made for the longest time was I was still in that powerlifting mindset where I didn't need specificity as much in strongman. And what I've learned is the closer you get to a comp, the more specific you need to be for the events. People don't like to hear it. People don't like to think you need to do the events every week. It really helps doing the events every week. I never thought when I first started that was right. I just focused on compound lifts and did the events when I did them, not very frequently. It helps a lot doing those events.
Yeah, you have to do them. It's again, a power lifter does squat, bench, and deadlift, right? There's
Yep.
accessory movements in there. Okay. There's going to be things you're working on your weak points. There's going to be spots where you're trying to build up weak muscles, blah, blah, blah. But again, if you're going into a powerlifting meet, you do squat, bench, and deadlift. So if you're a strong man, you need to do sandbag over shoulder, axle deadlift, farmer runs. Like you can do something that I've been working on a little bit this prep is getting more bang for your buck movements. So like I've been doing a lot more pendlay rows. I've been doing a lot more squatting, but the squatting intensity is down because I have to stay more energized for the events, right? Because it doesn't do me any good to build a big squat right now, like Josh is saying. So specificity is king. I agree with that.
Yeah. And I should have said it better, but like you're specific in powerlifting just by nature because you're always specific because you're always doing those lifts,
Right.
or at least a variation of it. I'm not always doing arm over arm pull because in strongman there's 50 plus events that there can be.
Right. So you can still train to get stronger. I mean, obviously if you're progressively overloading through a prep for these events, you're still going to get stronger. It may not be expressed the same way. So if you did a 500-pound squat and now you're doing a 525-pound squat, but you might hit a sandbag you've never hit before. That's still getting stronger. I don't necessarily like the motto that you can't get stronger during a prep, because I hear people say that, oh, I need an off season to really get stronger. And I know what they mean. They're trying to say build a foundation of strength and get their foundation stronger. But like you should still be getting somewhat stronger through a prep.
The only time I tell people you don't get stronger 2 weeks out. You don't get stronger a week out.
Right.
That's all specificity. Like the people, especially a week out, that's the hardest thing to get through to a younger lifter or a less experienced lifter is that week before. There's nothing you can do to get stronger. The only thing you can do is do things that'll aid your events. You can be stronger in the events because of what you do and don't do in the week before, but you can't actually add weight to your body. You can go in and do active recovery, open your hips, make sure you're good, get a deep tissue massage 7 to 10 days out. There's stuff you can do, but you can't go in and maxing a deadlift is only going to hurt you.
Yeah, it doesn't do any good.
So,
you're not going to make yourself stronger, but you can sure as hell make yourself weaker.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a good question. I like it.
But
I think if you have a powerlifting background, you have to have some kind of athletic background too, though.
they're just
Because if you just powerlift and like don't do any moving at all and didn't do any moving through your life, you're going to have a hard time adjusting. That's my opinion.
I agree with that.
This is the last thing I'll say, and we'll wrap up for this week. Is they're different sports. Powerlifting and strongman get compared much more than a football player and a basketball player.
Right.
They're different sports. I mean, I get it's the nature of strength training. However, they're just different. They're just way different, and they both have their place. I love them both a lot. But it's just different.
It is. It's different. I mean, it's not there are similarities, but like we can't look at a barbell back squat and compare it to a yoke squat and think that it's the same. The deadlift is about as close as it gets. And realistically, in strongman, you're allowed to use straps. You're allowed to use 2 belts. You're allowed to use a suit a lot of times. It's different. It's a different sport.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, to compare the two, it's sure, there's similarities, but I don't see how you can do it.
Right. Well, great episode this week, boys. Glad to have us all back. Hopefully the rest of the way we're pretty much just the boys are back. But
In-person episode at Nationals again?
oh yeah, we have to.
Probably.
We're not gonna go to different rooms in Zoom.
It's true.
But yeah, if you guys have anything you want us to talk about, drop a comment. Let me know about that pre-workout like I was talking about. You guys can get pre-workout 580barbell.com pre-workout tab. And we have merch up on the site. It'll ship to your house in like 2 to 3 days. Customize your color, shirt, logo, whatever you guys want. It's up on the 580 site. So I guess until episode 92, thank you guys all so much, and we'll see you then.
Peace.
Oh, you guys.
Later.